gonna open the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody got a copy of the agenda?
Yes. Move accept agenda as printed.
Seconded. Motion made and supported that we accept the agenda as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Microphones, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Four.
Motion been made and supported that we accept the minutes as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Treasury report, Amy? Anything new?
Nothing new.
Move accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the treasury report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bills?
We had a couple of the, road contracts come through this month, so that's why it's up a little bit higher.
Okay, they're making a lot of progress on stuff.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills as printed.
Four.
Motion been made and supported. We pay the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We haven't got anything under old business. We're gonna go straight to new business and consider the wind energy ordinance. I'm gonna let Ron Reddick take over for me. If you have any questions, see how it goes.
All right, thanks, Terry. This is just by way of introduction of what you have in front of you. At its meeting on May 25th of this year, the Planning Commission recommended adoption of two ordinances relating to wind energy systems. The first, which is the thickest of the ones that are in front of you, is the principal wind energy conversion system ordinance, which contains all of the various special land use requirements that would apply to a commercial grade wind energy project, along with the provisions for personal or non-commercial ones, if you will. So that's the first ordinance in front of you. Also, at its meeting on the 25th, the Planning Commission recommended a second ordinance, which in its first provision adopts the special land use for wind energy systems in the Ag RE district. Second, it has what's been called the saving clause provision, which provides, generally speaking, for the readoption of the 2017 standards in the event there's a referendum on the other provisions of the main ordinance, which, amongst other things, would ensure, in the event of a referendum on the other, there's some sort of wind energy provisions in the ordinance, and would give citizens who feel they were denied of a chance for a referendum on when the 2017 ordinance was adopted, because of the failure to do a notice of adoption at the time, that would renew that right again. Okay, so that's what the Planning Commission recommended. Those two ordinances were then sent to the County Planning Commission for their review, which occurred in the interim before this meeting. The County Planning Commission did not formally adopt a motion with particular comments, but just decided to send the feedback that particular commissioners made, and those covered the following 3 points. There was an opinion that the 500-foot limit on turbines reflected in the ordinance may not be restrictive, but that it's not in keeping with today's technology, which allows for taller turbines. The second comment was that the LMAX sound levels, as opposed to an LEQ sound level, are too restrictive. And third, that the 1,500-foot setback for non-participating parcels should be reconsidered to something less stringent. So again, those are only advisory comments that were made. In response to those, not knowing how the board might view those comments, I did prepare an alternate version of the principal wind energy ordinance that incorporates the LEQ standard. By preparing that, that's not in any way meant to be reflective that you should or shouldn't go with that alternative. It's just that if you do decide to follow that county recommendation, that requires a number of changes to the ordinance that can't readily be done on the spot. So I incorporated them in an alternative version and highlighted where the changes are in yellow. Now, if you were to follow any of the other county comments about turbine height or setbacks, those are very easy changes to make on the spot in one place in the ordinance, so I didn't incorporate any of those. And again, I'm not expressing an opinion whether you should or shouldn't, just carrying on the county's comments. So what I think you ought to proceed with at this point is first consider the principal wind energy ordinance, either the original one, well, you can consider both at the same time, as was recommended by the Planning Commission and potentially with the county's recommended changes. Either one is fine. And then secondly, consider the other ordinance, which again deals with the special land use for wind energy and the savings clause provision. Oh, and by the way, one other aspect I forgot to mention of that second ordinance is there's some miscellaneous improvements to the ordinance, the zoning ordinance in that second ordinance that deals with site plan approval procedures, making sure that the Planning Commission isn't under a set deadline to decide site plans. Secondly, to incorporate an improvement that makes it clear that if you adopt other technical standards in your ordinance, it refers to the most updated versions of those standards. And then finally, an improvement to section 2.12 to clarify when outdoor lighting can't spill onto other properties. Okay, so with that explanation, if you have any questions, let me know, but I would suggest you consider the principal ordinance first. Like I said, both the original one from the Planning Commission and whether you're interested in the alternative version that might reflect some of the county's recommended changes.
You guys have any comments?
So this one here, Ron, is this the principal one here?
Yeah, it's
But with the exception of page 5.
what's page 5 missing?
No, page 5 is a change.
Oh, where the highlighting is.
Yeah,
That's
we're
where-
highlighting it.
That's where the first change is. If you page through more, there's some other provisions. And it all deals with the change from LMAX to LEQ. There's a change on page 12.
Okay, I see what you did here.
25.
Yep. You just changed it from the LMAX to the LEQ all the way through.
Right, and the other change that needed to happen is we didn't have LEQ defined, and so that's been added to the definition section, which you noted first at page 5.
I don't know if you guys got any comments or suggestions. I don't care about changing this is my personal opinion, I don't care about changing the setbacks or the height. I would like to see him change that LMAX to the LEQ. But I got a lot of suggestions from people, from one side to the other. I mean, we have choices too, you know what I mean, so.
So, do we have to vote on this as the way it is right now, Ron, or do we have to amend it?
I prepared the alternative version in advance with the LEQ, so you could vote on it without any changes. It's already reflected.
We just
there.
have to vote on this right here.
Right. Now, if you decide to make other changes, I can just hand note them and we can have a motion to approve as amended, as discussed at this meeting. And that's something I probably should have pointed out, that you aren't limited in your discretion to responding only to the county's changes or recommended changes. You can change the ordinance in any way. It's fully within the board's discretion to make any changes you want before adoption.
Alright. I guess I don't have any other problems with leaving the height and the setbacks the same.
To change the LEQ.
I changed the LAQ when Ron has it in here.
So I make a motion, we approve the one with the LEQ change and as amended.
Support.
Okay, motion been made and supported, we accept the alternate ordinance with the only changes being made is the LMAX to the LAQ. All those in favor say aye, well, we need wanna do a roll call vote. Eldon,
Yes.
Jepson,
Yes.
Anderson vote yes, Snyder, Laper,
Yes.
motion carried. Yeah. You wanna go over that one some more?
Well, again, this is meant to go hand in hand. This is meant to go hand in hand in certain respects in that section 1 establishes and amends table 12.05A of the ordinance to specifically state that wind energy conversion systems are a special land use in the Ag RE district, subject to the approval standards you just adopted. Second, it has a savings clause provision I mentioned relating to the 2017 standards, and then the 3 miscellaneous improvements to the zoning ordinance that aren't really related to wind turbines. They were just things that came up during the planning commission's review process that needed improvement from the current provisions. But they stand on their own merit, separate and apart from anything dealing with wind energy.
They were at the end.
Yeah, at the very end, it starts under, at page 9, section 3, site plan approval procedures, section 4. It's titled Other Amendments, but that deals with updated technical manuals that are referenced in the ordinance. And then section 5, outdoor lighting.
I move we accept the special land use for wind energy conversion systems.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept the special land use for the WECS ordinance. Eldon,
Yes.
Jepson,
Yes.
Anderson votes yes, Snyder,
Yes.
Laper,
Yes.
motion carried. Thank you for presenting that. It's easier if you do it kind of like. We can go on to number 3, Dave's bill for the violations.
Yeah, when we had the 29 vehicle violations, Dave had a little added expenditures, which he obviously wasn't expecting, plus 3 FOIA requests. So he's just requesting, to be reimbursed for $168.26.
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion to pay Dave the 168.26 was prompted.
Yes.
Okay.
Support.
Motion been made and supported that we reimburse Dave for all the stuff that he's been doing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And you guys got it wrong. Did you guys get any different bids on the gas? From different
I
people?
didn't talk to Alto, but I, talked to, Sotowski, and he said he was gonna get me something, and I have heard nothing back. But they might not have price set, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so Long's finally sent me theirs. It's at $2.15 per gallon, and then I still have the one for Excel, for $2.09.9. That expires at the end of the month. use more than we do.
You haven't got a price?
I have not got a price from Outlook, no.
I think Long's went theirs by the first of August, don't they?
Yes,
And if you got a price on gas at the house,
That was 239.
239. What was Long's?
215.
215. He said it's only 17 cents more. We gotta go, I mean, Long's have gotta go, know by the first of August, so
We have to decide
we
tonight.
gotta decide tonight, so I'll make a motion, we go to Long's propane for another year.
Support.
motion made and supported that we go ahead and vote with Longs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. You have a insurance deal on that?
Yeah, it's just the Michigan Township participating plan insurance renewal.
Raise the price.
No, I think it's pretty close to what it was last year.
Isn't due till October 1st?
It goes from October, yeah. We actually have to send in, like, it's like an, kinda like an application, which I've been filling out,
Okay.
yeah. So,
We need a motion to renew the Michigan Township insurance
So
plan.
moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the Michigan Township insurance renewal plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. You have anything, Tom?
I had a fire meeting 2 weeks ago. I don't know if they ever got, they're supposed to do new packs in May, I never heard.
Pat, do you have anything? Amy, do you have anything?
The tax bills went out, so people should receive them or, have received them already, so.
Do you have anything else, Rhonda?
just, yeah, elections are ramping up. And if you want an absentee ballot application, make sure you go online and apply for one, or stop into the office and I can get you one. Other than that, I have, this request from Dave Kelsey for a class, yeah, it's for zoning. And divided between the 7 townships that he does, it's only $25 per township.
Making a motion to raise $25 for Dave's.
Support. Motion made and supported to pay the $25 so Dave can go to school. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. You have
That's
anything
all I
else?
have.
Okay, I really don't have anything. We can open this up for public comment. Anybody wanna be first? Laura? Yeah, we got a 3-minute limit, like
Yes.
we always have.
My name is Laura Engel, and I'm from Douglas Township. This is a little change of pace. Anyone who's ever been on a runaway horse knows that it is an event filled with high drama. It happened to me once when I was about 12. I traded horses with one of the kids I was riding with that day. The horse saw a chance for mischief as I was smaller than its owner. He promptly took the bit in his teeth and sped off. He headed for the highway, paying no heed to the icy winter terrain or the traffic. I pictured myself lying dead on M66 south of Stanton. Although I could not stop the runaway, I found I could steer him by yanking on the reins with all my remaining strength, forcing him to turn his head. I forced him toward a high bank behind the old Sunoco gas station in Stanton. He tried to climb the bank, but he lost momentum, and when he stopped, I jumped off, shaken but unharmed. Figuratively speaking, we currently have another runaway in our county. It uses different names: Concerned Citizens, Douglas Energy Coalition, whatever. This group also has the bit clenched firmly in its teeth. It is running amok and wreaking destruction at every turn. Like my runaway horse of long ago, it is feeling its oats and is on a wild tear. If someone's livelihood is menaced with a boycott, or if the reputations of respected elected officials are trampled underfoot, so be it, tough luck. They're just collateral damage. How do we halt this new runaway? Civic action must be taken to stop its mad rush to inflict irreversible damage on township government. We need to identify an obstacle which it cannot pass and one which it cannot climb. It will be up to the voters in the affected townships to be the tough obstacle that puts an end to the activities of this runaway. It will be incumbent on them to yank the bit from its clenched teeth. In the final analysis, it is the voters who hold the reins of local government. Theirs is an awesome responsibility, especially in townships like Douglas, where good public servants are being subjected to the indignity of a recall. If the voters relinquish the reins and fail to rise to the occasion, who knows what damage will be done by the runaway called Citizens United. Can we Douglas Township voters summon the courage necessary to seize its reins, force the bit from between its clenched teeth, and bring it to a halt? I hope so. Thank you.
Next, Joe?
Yeah. Our country is founded on we the people. And we the people get to decide, like Laura's worried about these recalls. When a public official is elected and won't listen to we the people or the people that elected them, luckily our country has a decision to recall. That's what they gave us a right for. And if we didn't have that right, we'd be living in living under a bunch of dictators, you know? It's not right. You got a majority of the people, and you're not listening, well, you get recalled. Simple as that. Thank you.
Anybody want to be next?
Kathy Craig, Douglas Township. Couple questions. I know I will not get an answer, but I will try to ask because I do feel I have a right as a citizen of this township to be answered. This is for Mr. Reddick. I'm curious as to who directed you to change the ordinance, because the last time we saw it, it looked very different than what was voted on tonight, and you did that. Usually an attorney is directed to do something like that by the client, so I'm curious as to who directed you to do that. Also, curious again, at the last planning commission meeting when Tammy Swears asked specifically about changing the sound level to LEQ instead of LMAX, you advised her against doing that and it didn't get changed. So I'm curious why, when in your own words the county planning commission is only advisory, why you would have gone against your own advice to Tammy Swears and just made those changes without any directive. Would I be able to get an answer to that, or am I?
Does anybody want to be next?
I'm not done. I have 3 minutes.
You have 3
I'm
minutes?
just giving him a chance to answer. I'm also not really surprised, but disappointed that the exact same thing just happened here in Douglas Township that I witnessed in Maple Valley Township and in Winfield Township, where the officials are just simply not listening and making changes that favors a large corporation instead of people that live here, work here, want to retire here, and enjoy the peace and tranquility that Douglas Township has to offer. Also, again, the Apex lease terms are extremely bad for people signing the leases. The property rights issues are just plain bad. So you are not protecting the non-participating property owners with this ordinance, and you are not protecting the people who signed leases. And I guess I'm not surprised but disappointed, was really hoping that something would change here, that somebody would do something right by the people. Thank you.
Anybody want to be next?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we doing any
found it's very tiny. For any of the protected species, like bald eagles or anything, are they factoring in here anywhere?
600 feet from the river somewhere.
So,
Shameful. I don't think they read it. They don't even know.
Done? Are you done?
Are you done?
yeah. I
Wouldn't
mean,
she
unless
needs
you
to
have
state her
an
name?
answer.
She needs to say.
We need to have your name up here. Ma'am,
No.
what's your name?
What? Your name? Jerry.
Anybody else wanna be next?
Linda does.
Yeah.
Linda Reynolds from Douglas. You changed the LMAX to LEQ. Ron justified it, as Kathy was saying, that you paid Spicer Group to do that and they could back up and prove that it was protective. In changing it to the LEQ, I noticed a typical attorney, we aren't gonna give all the information out. Is it LEQ 3 seconds? How do we know what you're even passing? We've spent how much money since all this wind started? And you know how it happened in 2020? And we're right back to square one again, because here we are. All that time has gone by, all the money, taxpayers, I just got my taxes, and of course another increase, and we're paying for nothing. We're right back to square one. I'm very disappointed. You guys had a chance to look out for your community, everyone in the community. Because as Kathy was saying, even the lease people, reading the contract, they are not even protected on their own land. And I've heard some that have signed under false pretenses that are hoping it goes to a vote. So they don't have to be out and say it publicly, because the contract says they can't. That's it.
Anybody wanna be next? If not anybody? Sheila?
Sheila Crooks, Douglas Township. Just to make it totally clear, the only reason you only changed the LMAX is because that's the only thing in that ordinance that semi-protected us. You just put them hundreds and hundreds of feet closer to our homes. And like Linda said, and like Kathy said, did Ron bill out hours of his own accord, or was he directed to come here with an amended ordinance? Clearly one or two of those things happened, and they're both pretty shady, because we all know this was gonna happen. I mean, there's no surprises here tonight. You've made our job a lot easier, that's all I can say, because that's the only thing that people might have liked in that ordinance. So, here we go. Thank you.
Anybody wanna be next? Jack?
Jack Jepson from Douglas Township. I want to start out by letting the lady that writes for the newspaper and the people videotape me that tonight I'm speaking as a taxpayer and I'm not PC chair of Douglas Township. First of all, I've been drugged through the mud. I've been FOIA'd, I've been accused of different things, along with the other township officials here.
Jack, we've had somebody lie about us too.
Yep. We've
Kathy
had other
Craig did.
people lie about us.
Same.
Excuse
And
me?
people have turned
Yes,
us
you said
into-
that we signed.
Okay.
Tom, why don't you leave?
We've been turned in, my business
Removing.
has been turned into the, DEQ. And we just gotta look out for our backs now. I want you township officials, when you walk out of here tonight, hold your head high, because the people that count your life know your character, know who you are, and the rest of the people don't really count.
That's it, Greg, build a
I
better
would like,
community.
I would like to hear what I lied about, please.
You said that in a letter that Sheila Crooks read, that Jack and I had signed our land up. We have not.
I never said
Sheila read
that.
it, didn't you, Sheila?
We got a comment down
Yeah,
right
it was
here.
in November.
I have never said that.
You did,
Why?
you wrote it in the letter.
We got enough.
Prove it.
Harvey, do you wanna talk?
Harvey Schick, Douglas Township. To follow up on that comment, know your character. Well, we know your character. It's cost my family thousands and thousands of dollars for your lying, your malicious intent, and the inclusion of the lawyer. We know your character. I thank you, Amy, for apologizing publicly. But right there, you proved where your heart is, where your ethics, your values are. You already proved it.
Anybody, we got one back here.
My name's Smith, I am from the neighboring Evergreen Township, where we passed the worst solar ordinance in the state of Michigan, so I see that you guys are trying to follow the state of Michigan wind ordinance, so that's great. I just want to tell all of the people, that are going to referendum and be voting on the recall, that I helped collect the recall signatures, very happy about that, so please make sure you only have 3 minutes, wait till the end to clap. Remember in November to vote on the recall, so that those people that have been dishonest and have been horrible about not being for we the people can come off the board and we can get people in there that will take care of this community. Secondly, with the referendum, because this is a crappy ordinance, so obviously you're gonna referendum. So again, my name is Renee Smith, you all know where I am, please call upon me because I will knock on doors and go door to door and help collect signatures just like I did for the recall. So we the people will prevail, plain and simple, we will not let this bullshit happen.
Amen.
Anybody wanna be next? We don't have anybody? We got one over here. Kelly. Kelly?
Kelly Johnson, Douglas Township. Just want to say, we support you. Blue Shirts here support you as a friend, as a person that comes to your business and buys your stuff. I support each and every one of you. I do want to say that if you guys are happen to be recalled and don't make it back on the board, I just really hope that these people treat others as well as they have treated you. So I hope they get their just desserts on when they get up there and they have to sit there and face the crowd. Thank you.
We got one over here.
Hi, I'm Wendy Spatala from Douglas Township. New shirt. We have to protect this township. You as board members are not.